Hey everyone, thanks for joining for this video. Today we are going to talk about shared file systems on Cycle. So you can see I have a single server here deployed to this demo cluster, and if you've been with us for quite a while, you might notice that this is a brand new tab up here called Configure. So as I click into Configure, you'll see some options for a shared file system. Now there's shared directories and shared mounts. A shared directory is just a identifier that represents a directory on the underlying host, whereas a shared mount is a way for a user to mount an external file system to the host itself, and both of these interactions will allow you to expose underlying directories on the host to a container. Now with shared directories, all you really have to do is let's say demo, and that's really all you have to do. Now, when you get to the container part of this configuration, you'll be able to mount it to a specific place on the container and give it read or read-only access or write access if you want. But here, that's really all you have to do. For the shared mounts, what I have prepared is just a basic EFS file system that we're going to go ahead and mount to this server. So we'll grab the EFS file system that's over here. And this is, I literally just created a very basic EFS file system. We'll pop in here, we'll grab attach, and what we're going to do is we're going to look for, the first thing we're going to look for is this file system type, and let me expand to this so it's easier to see. We'll name this EFS, and you'll see that we have these options here. So we have the type, which is the type of the file system, so net file system 4. The options, which you will see right here, -O in the EFS, gives you all the options that it uses for its default. So we can copy these. And then we also move the adder option into the options instead of using it the way that AWS does here. And so we're just saying the address for this remote file system is this IP. Right, and then the source itself, this is just the net file system default. This is what people use for that. That's part of the spec, if you will. So we have all of our options in, and we can reconfigure the file servers. I can't get over how this looks like the little, kind of like a sideways face. I think that's funny. All right, so that's reconfigured. Moving on, we can go into our, so I have this demo cluster, demo environment. We can deploy a container, call this one 1, and we'll just use this basic getting started image and deploy. And let's go into config. And so the part of setup here that we need is under integrations. So from the dashboard to config, to integrations, shared file system. And so if you remember, the identifier for the shared file system that was a shared directory was demo. And we're going to give this writable. So just meaning that this container has access to write to that directory. And then we can mount this directory wherever we want in the container. So the actual path to the directory on the underlying host isn't something that you'll have to interact with. But where these files show up on the container itself is configurable here. We'll give it something random for this demo. Let's just say root temp, something really not something you would use, but good for an example. Our other one was EFS, and now that it's already set up as that mount point, you are going to interact with it in just the exact same way as you would interact with another one. And so we can say we'll be able to write to this, and we'll say root EFS. Right, and we'll save and start. Excellent. I start that off just so we have them all running, and then let's deploy one more just to, let's say, read only. And we're just, all we're doing here is I'm just grabbing a container that I know has I can console into, and it'll have the things I need. So basic container deployment. And what we'll do is we'll go back to the config, back to integrations, and the thing that we're going to do here is just not give writable. So EFS, root EFS, and save, and start. go back here, and I'm going to double check to make sure I did make integrations. Yeah, I did make both of those writable. Excellent. So let's go into the two-way console. Okay. Cool. So I have two different directories here on the container. So they're mounted to the point where we said they would be mounted. And if I go into temp, there's nothing in here. I can see echo hello dot txt, right? And the file exists because this has writable. I believe I might have some files in this EFS. Nope. So go hello other.txt. Great. And what we'll do is we will go to our other container and we will use the two-way console here. And we've mounted them to the same place, but we do not have write access. So what you'll see is we have the two directories, but now that I've written to it, the file exists. And if I try to hello to error dot cannot create read-only file system. Same thing with EFS, but just to show that that works, hello to cannot create. Awesome. So what you can see here is that this file system is our mounted file system from EFF. We were able to mount that successfully, and we have also our shared directory on the host, and that's managed by Cycle. So both of these options should give you a whole new level of flexibility when it comes to sharing files between containers without the really difficult process of configuring sharing files between containers, which can actually be pretty cumbersome. And so if you have any questions, please leave those in the comments. But this should get you started using shared file systems on Cycle, and we hope you enjoy this new feature. Thanks.